it's important to introduce that to somebody, so then that way um they get an idea and you give them the decision. Like, you know what I'm saying? Do I actually want to deal with this? I know maybe one day I might, she might get mad. She might say something, might not say my name, but I know it's
But is
about me.
ignorance bliss though? Like if they don't know
But
nothing
maybe,
about nothing and they never listen to it, don't none of your. I feel like because once you blow up though, then it might be a little different because it's like now
yeah.
it's kind of hard to not hear it. Because like
Right, right.
I hear that with bigger podcasters where it's like, yo, so and so bought me a clip or they showed me a clip or nigga, you went viral and you was. So I think that in itself could be a little bit tricky. I think like right now on the ground levels, it's a little bit easier to hide behind the ignorance because it's like it's like what 10, 15 people in the room sometimes when we're on station at, and so that's a lot different than thousands of people listening and clips being sent
Then
to
at that point, then a real conversation would have to be had. And like at that point, your partner would have to have some type of tough skin the same way you do. Because I feel like this right now, it's like for us, I feel like it's practice and it's just like, oh, y'all gonna joke, y'all gonna roast, y'all gonna say whatever you want to say. Okay, whatever. But then it has to have, you have to have some type of conversation with your partner and be like, hey, there may be a day where, I say something outlandish, and how are we gonna deal with that? Like, are we just gonna end the relationship, or are we gonna talk about it and I won't overstep those boundaries no more? You know what I mean? So
And I feel like you
that's just
can
how I
really talk
feel.
about those things. I feel like you can
Hmm.
have that conversation, talk about those things in the beginning. It don't have to be the first date conversation or some shit like that. But just in the beginning,
Hmm.
if you feel like y'all are getting serious or something, you can tell when you feel like you're getting serious with somebody. When you're getting serious with that person, let them know, like, look, I do this on a daily basis. I may be talking about these types of things because I have to do it with my King Talk show. It may seem fine and
Hmm.
dandy. They be like, "Oh yeah, oh cool." They may even come to a show, but then after they see the chat or after they see dudes trying to holler at me or just whatever the case is, all of a sudden they don't like King Talk no more. So I have to
Right.
be transparent about that. I don't just say, "Oh, I'm a streamer, I'm a blogger, or I'm saying I have a podcast." I specifically just kind of when I get serious
I
with
be
them or I
talking
feel like, okay, well, you know what,
pussies and
I
stuff.
let it. Yeah, I let them know,
We
like,
be
hey,
talking
I
about
do a
it.
show every Sunday. Exactly, and we be talking about it. So if it's a problem, what I'm saying, hopefully, well, I don't say if it's a problem. Don't say it like that. Just say hopefully it won't be an issue. And if you would like to, maybe come and see the King Talk, come and see it, come catch the vibe, whatever. But just know this is what I do every Sunday. And that's up to
Now
them if
what
they
I,
want to accept it, if they want to, but they can't say that you didn't let them know.
but
Right.
it's
They
not
can't say that you
always that
didn't tell them.
simple though. It's not
It's
always
not
that
that simple,
simple.
but that's
It's not.
what else can you do though? You can't control everything though. You can't control
You
the other
you're
person. You can't control the outcomes. All you can do is control what you say and what you do.
you're 100%
So
right, but I'm just speaking from
I feel like letting
experience.
them know is your job though, and
Yeah,
communicating.
no, a hundred
But
percent. But
and you did your part of the job.
yeah, 100%. But I'm not like refuting that at all. But I've been in a situation where I really liked the girl and she really didn't like what I was saying on the internet. And so and it wasn't even anything necessarily specific towards her, but she just was uncomfortable with the fact that so much of my personal life was on there. And
Mm.
for me, I didn't think I
Mm.
was putting that much of my personal life on there because I knew all the stuff that was going on that just never made the light of day. And so for me, it was like I thought I was already doing a lot of trimming and stuff like that, as far as like, leaving the super, super personal stuff out the way, or, the stuff that might make somebody
But
look unfavorable. Or kind of like,
that seems like
Hmm.
a her problem though. That seems like a her problem.
right. But
If
I
if
like
if
her.
it's your business and you don't
But he's
mind
like,
talking
yeah,
about
but he
it,
like her.
But
I,
that's the
I I
thing.
get that, but I'm just saying it's her problem though. It's not something that you can't change her opinion. Obviously, she doesn't like people telling too much of their business. But if that's not how you feel, how can she gauge what business of yours that you should tell and not tell? Exactly, she can't
Because
gauge that. So that sounds
she
like a
kind
her problem.
and this is where I disagree, because I think that when you're in relationships, it's kind of your job as the other half to kind of consider your partner as well. So it's like while she can't while she necessarily, and that's where I had to kind of, I was at like a fork.
So you're gonna consider what she's saying so much that you're just not gonna make the content no more. You just
And
gonna
that's where I was
stop.
leading to. And that's what I
Mhm.
was kind of alluding to. What happens when you get to that fork in the road where, because, for one, there's always other things you can talk about. And so I
There
never want
is.
to frame it like, I just have to talk, talk about some super gossipy shit or talk about my life
But you
because
know what your
then,
audience likes though, TT. You know
and
what I'm saying?
and that's where it started to
Exactly.
get tricky because she had set us a hard boundary for her, like, hey, I'm more of a low key person. I don't really like my data, my life being talked. Even if we do get into an argument, I say some stupid shit, like I know it might make for good content, but I'm just not comfortable with this. And I'm just
Mhm.
like, I don't know if you know this or not, but kind of my whole thing is being super transparent and like talking about my life. Like every now and then I'll talk about some celebrity shit if it's like just something super viral, like when the Kiki Palmer shit happened. I just like half kind of talk about that and like with the
Yeah.
Blueface and shit like that. But for the most part, my show is predicated on my life and my perspective on the world and the way I see things. Like I talk about my mom on here, my sister, my family, my uncle. Like it ain't nobody in my life that I care about that I don't think has I've told a story about. I might not always say people's names. I'll just say my friend or my mom or something because I know some niggas be doing illegal shit. And I don't be want to get them jammed up possibly.
Right.
But but
No face,
but
no case.
yeah, but it was
That's
like a
it.
real thing. And so it put me in a weird space for about 2 weeks on my show where I was constantly second guessing every story I was about to tell. I was constantly thinking, okay, cool. Now that I made her aware of this, part of me was wishing I just wouldn't have told her about it at all because it probably would have never came up, or if it did come up, she probably wouldn't have cared to really listen to it. But because I made such a big deal about it, it was like, hey, I do this every day and I think you should know about it. She kind of felt compelled to download the app and check it out. And then she didn't like what she's heard. But
Mm.
I say all that to say is like at that point I wasn't ready to just kick her to the curb and be like, all right, well, if you don't like my podcast, then fuck you. Because I
Right.
feeling her that much, but she really wasn't feeling it. So I guess my question is like as a podcaster, just how much of your partner do you keep in the back of your mind when you're making your content, and then how much of it is just fuck it, I'm finna do my thing, and they gonna have to get down and lay down.
Well, you willing to compromise shows a lot, and a relationship does consider a compromise. So she may not be able to get exactly what she wants, like maybe you completely stopping, but at least if y'all compromise,
Mhm.
like, okay, well, you know what, these types of things I won't talk about then. The other stuff I'll talk about because look, damn it, I got a show. But some of the
Right.
stuff that you point out that I can keep offline. But that's she has to be willing to compromise as well. If she's saying, "Oh no, you better stop all of it because I don't like none of it," then she don't need to be with you anyway. That means she's not even willing to compromise. That means she got issues.
She was
She got
on
to be
some
willing to
just
compromise
talking.
just like you do.
She was on some like just talk about the news type shit. Like, why do you have to talk about your personal life? Why can't you just do like? And then she started naming some podcasters that she watched. I was like, why don't you just do like him or him, where they just talk about the news or pop culture or something like that? And I
Why
was like,
don't
I
you
do
do it
talk
then
about
if
it.
that's what you want?
And I was
Look,
like,
speaking it, man.
I was like, I do
Like,
do a
because
good
I'm
amount of
telling you,
pop
like,
culture.
bro, are you dead ass right now? Like, the whole situation is just no, because I go through it too. And now, granted, these people aren't even like you. At least you actually was liking the girl and was actually really, really feeling her.
Mhm.
The dudes that I'm kind of having the same issue with, I don't even like them that much to even sit there and try to argue with them or compromise with
To
them.
even have
But
that
it's not.
conversation.
It really is just kind of like, are you serious? Like, people do this for a living. A lot of people do this for a living. And if I told you I was making $1 million from this, I bet you wouldn't be saying shit. You wouldn't be saying shit. Like, come on now. If you was coming over to hang out at my house and I was living in the
What
mansion and you knew it was because I was talking shit all day, you would not care. You would be like,
what
talk your shit.
what Cam, is it Cam Newton? Was it Cam Newton? What his third baby mom say with $100 million nigga putting pressure on you? What you finna do? Like you gonna shut up or you can get put up? What do you, I mean? Like for real? If
Exactly.
you was
That's what you
making
gonna
hella
do.
bread
Like,
off
so
of
if
it,
But I even hear Joe Budden go through it with his girlfriend, where she pull up to the pod and be going off about some of the stories and shit he be telling and stuff like that. So I
she
think
knew. You know
she
who
won't
that
clout,
man
she won't
is,
clout.
100%.
She
But
won't
that
clout.
don't. But and that's why for me the compromise was okay. I'll talk about my personal life, but I'll never talk about you unless it's in a super favorable light. Like even
Okay,
if
and
we
that's
going through,
that's
even
that's
even
understandable.
if we
That's
going because
understandable.
like Joe be on just some straight COE shit. Like there's been times where he talked about like her kid's 16th birthday party and how she like just he be calling her fat and shit like that. Not like a like and he don't be saying it in a malicious way, but he do be making like he
Like,
be
damn,
coming
he
for he
calling
be
her
getting his
fat.
joke.
Damn.
He likes thick women. Like he likes thick women, and so he was like telling a story one
Well, if you
time
like
about
thick
like
women, then don't be calling them fat though. Don't be calling them fat.
but again, it's podcasting, and into a and you know with New Yorkers, they have a different level of aggression that they talk with. So for them, tongue in
That's
cheek is a
true.
whole different level. But
That's
but
true.
Yeah.
when you're making content and you got a 3 hour pod, you're constantly trying to find different ways to make people laugh and ways to entertain people for long periods of time. So when you're telling a story about the time that you had to carry your drunk wife up the 3 flights of stairs in your big ass house, it's like, yeah, nigga had to pick up big ass up and carry her up the stairs and stuff like that. And you know, when as a girl you
Let
hear a
me
nigga
report
talk about
you.
my big ass, that might like it's hilarious. Like, see, it's
That's
hilarious.
funny. That's funny. I ain't gonna
And
lie.
he and so and everybody who's seen his girlfriend knows that she's not a fat girl whatsoever. She's just really fucking thick. Like if you look at her and I Texas girl, super huge thighs, big ass, he big tit. Like she's you know he talks about all the time how she's like 210
Voluptuous.
or something
Yeah,
like that.
voluptuous.
Like she's a solid woman. And so you know, but just him putting some extra sauce on the story ended up with her, you know, getting on him about it on one of the Patreon episodes or something. And you know, and
Mhm.
I'm sure she takes it in stride, but I say all that to say that even once you start making a shit ton of money off of podcasting and stuff like that, your partners could still have an issue with something you're saying, especially if they
Yeah.
feel like you didn't have to make that joke or something. And for you is, you know, it's just another day at work, but for them it's like I said, I think everybody be cool with it until it's them that the story's being told about.
I think that's true.
Exactly.
I think that's true. I think that's true.
Yeah.
Especially speaking from experience, like in my ex, it was cool that I was podcasting, I was making, them little amp checks until I got to, we got to the end of our stuff, and then it was like, oh, you talking about me? Like, nah, you gotta X that out. And I was like,
Yeah.
no.
Oh, now I
No.
gotta exit out. Like, what? I've been talking about your ass
No.
this whole time.
When I was kicking it,
No.
it was cool, but now that the joke's
You
on
know,
you,
the what was on my mind is, since we're kind of talking about like content creating or whatever, it's so cool to see like your creativity versus like Tasia's creativity versus mine. Like you can tell this is a dude's podcast. Like, like as far as the aesthetic, it's like you can tell that this
yeah,
podcast
no,
is ran by a guy. And I think it's cool, like how
That's
our
dope.
creative differences, kind of how our creative directions be taking us. Like
Mm-hmm.
yours is looking all
actual,
futuristic and manly, like Tasia's looking very much like, you know what I'm saying, like vintage and carefree aesthetic, like with the brown tones and shit. And then mine is always colorful. I just think it's beautiful.
It is dope.
definitely,
I ain't gonna lie. It's dope for sure.
definitely, man. You know, I don't know, yo. I think podcasting and relationships they're just tricky to navigate.
Yeah,
And
that's why niggas need to stay single or just don't be with me. Like, don't be with me because I'm gonna talk about you and I'm gonna write a book about it. And I'm gonna write a book about it. So,
you know
Exactly.
what? I'm almost actually glad that the Instagram stream isn't working because I don't.
oh my god,
No facts because you know
Wait,
what?
why
I like.
isn't it working? It's not working because you don't know how to do it and you're not patient.
I tried to walk him through it,
No,
but
I followed the directions. I copied
he
the
did.
stream. I
He
copied the
did.
stream link and it says that it's
Okay,
going live
listen,
from Instagram, but it's just not.
when you copy the link, no, because you gotta press go live on Instagram too. You're not pressing the
I
go live on
I
Instagram
I
too.
He did it. I
Exactly.
watched this
That's the
man
only
do it.
step you missing is that you gotta press
I
go live. You said you watched the
I,
stream
He
with
did
him?
it.
I tried to. I thought I pressed the little
And
go live in the top of the
he
blue.
pressed go live on IG.
I'm not tripping on it only off the fact that for one, I like the fact that we don't there's no pressure of having to look at the comments and also respond to what people are saying because sometimes it does throw off the conversation or it might
It'd be
derail the
distracting.
conversation.
I
Yeah,
ain't
it could
gonna
be a
lie.
little bit distracting. I like the
Mm.
organic conversation feel. I do. So I'm actually
Well,
kind of
Feel
I'm
it.
glad.
streaming us I'm streaming us on my YouTube.
That's cool, man. I appreciate it. We are live on my Twitch right now, and
Oh, that's
so
what's up.
So yeah, that's definitely going. But
Well,
the
I'm
Instagram
doing it only
is
because I didn't even know that I didn't even know that we can do this. That's why I pressed it, because I didn't even know that,
yeah. When
because
I
it's
went
not my
live,
it's not my show.
when I
So
went
since it's not
live,
my
it
show, I
asked
didn't
me.
know that I could still stream it.
It gives you the option. I guess once you pay for like the premium version to allow somebody else to allow the people calling up to also stream it as well. So I just turned that on. I was like, okay, cool.
Okay.
But yeah, man, I just
That's dope then. That's something I didn't know that you just taught me then. I didn't know that.
I do what I can, man. I do what I
Hmm.
can.
Whatever.
I'll do what I can.
But
Oh
moving
my
forward,
god.
kind of still on the relationship topic, and I guess in talking about future fame, my next question I wanted to ask was, do you think that like just on some like pro black shit that once you become successful, and I guess speaking for men, do you think that black men like owe it or have an obligation to marry black once they get successful?
Does that answer my
Mm,
question with the fist in the air?
Do yeah,
what
like do successful black men have an
I
obligation to marry black women?
I'm
I
mixed.
mean, it
I'm
would
mixed.
be.
So I'm gonna feel
I'm
like a black man don't have to, because I'm mixed. That'd be very
right. I was
hypocritical of
like,
me if I said no.
it would be ideal. That's in society, like, and in the black world, like that's what
Pinky, don't forget
as
you said
much
that.
as
I want
much
to
as
address
we
that.
You said
want to
what?
say. He
I
said,
said
"Don't forget." He said, "Don't forget you
don't
said
forget,
that."
don't because I'm gonna forget what your exact quote, and I don't want to misquote you. But don't forget that you said that because I want to let Tasia finish, but I want to respond to that.
I just think in an ideal
Okay,
world,
but
like as much as black people want to be like, oh, love who you love and stuff like that. Like black moms always tell their black sons, like, bring home a black woman. I don't care what black mom out here, she'd be like, love who you love. But at the end of the day, she gonna be like,
That was
it,
never a question.
I'm just saying,
And my mom
is it an
wasn't even with you love
obligation?
what you love situation. She was just like you gotta date a black girl. It wasn't even.
But that's my point. That's my point. It's just like it's either you have one or two black women. It's love who you love, all right, whatever, whatever. But in an ideal world, as a black mom, you want your black son to bring home a black um woman. You get what I'm saying? So I mean, yeah, ideally you think that they would have an obligation to marry a black woman, but does that always happen? No. And so I mean, what can we do about it?
Disown your son.
Oh
I've
no,
seen
I would
what? Don't
never.
destroy your
I've
I
seen
would
it
son.
happen.
never.
I've seen
Don't
it
do
I would
happen.
that.
never.
But
I've
I
I
feel
seen
would
like
it.
that's
never.
different. I feel like, okay, don't bring home a white woman, sure, but don't be putting my Mexican women up in that. I understand if you don't
When
want
it
your
comes to
black
traditional
king
black
to
families,
bring
they
home a white
more
woman,
than.
but come on now.
I'm not gonna lie
And
though,
I'm just
there
speaking
is.
as a black and Mexican ass bitch.
But and I hate to say it, but and I know it's not like 100% across the board, but I have seen like a little bit of not a divide, but like a little issue between black women and Hispanic women. Oftentimes, because I think, at least from my perspective, I think a lot of black women feel like they lose a lot of black men to Hispanic women due to either the hair or the complexion, or just black men having a thing for chasing lighter complexion women or something like that. And not to put anybody that's Hispanic down, but I've just noticed like that was kind of like a thing growing up where like the black girls kind of resented the Hispanic girls because they felt like all the boys were always gawking over like the girls with the long hair, the straight hair, blah. And so I felt like that was kind of.
Ain't nothing I can do about that part though.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, but you're talking about specifically successful black men. I do feel
Yeah.
like specifically successful black men should um just be with a black woman, bro. Just be with a black one. It don't even hurt my feelings. It don't hurt my feelings. Like I don't know, like
Well,
It don't hurt
just do
my
what you
feelings.
do. I don't know. Like, and technically, I'm still black, so date me. Like,
I was gonna ask, do you
date me.
identify
How
your
about that?
I was
Name
gonna
me.
identify
You
black,
get the
like
best of both worlds.
do you
Right.
identify as black, or do you identify as mixed, or because I know some people feel like that just I'm black. Like I know like with Drake, he doesn't really do the whole bisexual, and I just use him because he's a really big name, but he doesn't
Wait
do
a minute, you said bisexual.
Bisexual.
not. Oh shit!
Bisexual. What?
Welcome to the smoker
Yeah, I
section,
was gonna say
y'all.
welcome to the smoker section, man. I'm
TT.
sorry, but he doesn't. No, I meant to say biracial. But I've heard stories about him and some of his fetishes, and I wouldn't be. So I've seen the nails and the hair clips in the head, and so if maybe I wasn't. Hey, but
Me, I'm not gonna lie, because
you get
my
another.
dad asked me the same thing, and because my dad is not the one that's black, my dad is Mexican, and I guess he just asked because one of his friends asked him, like, "Hey, what does your daughter identify as?" Black. My dad would even let you know she's black. Like he's a
Mhm.
Mexican, a whole Mexican ass man, and he'll let you know my daughter is black. Me, I identify as black because I was raised in my black family. My granny didn't put nothing but black on all my paperwork. It's confusing because what my name is, when you see it on paper, you be like, oh, she got to be Hispanic or something when you see my name on paper. But that check mark is marked black. And even to this day, when I do stuff, I don't like putting two or more races because sometimes they put two or more races, but in parentheses, it says non-Hispanic. So what the fuck?
Mhm.
So I just put black. Like, but
All right.
so I identify as black. If somebody is just asking me like, "Hey, what are you?" I just say black. But if I feel like telling them, I let them know like, "Look, I'm black and Mexican, but I don't feel like talking about it." Because they always ask a lot of questions. Like it's like I'm just black and Mexican. But people assume that I'm Puerto Rican or something. So I just let them know like, no, I'm black. And it don't hurt my feelings what people think I am. I had to get over that. When I was younger, I cared. When I was younger, I was like, oh my gosh, why can't they just understand that I'm black and Mexican? I'm not white. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I used to get
In
so
fair,
I used to
in
get so upset when people
fairness,
called me white.
Yeah.
in
Like,
fairness,
so it's like I just used to get so
Here
upset.
TT
But now that
go.
I'm older, I just
no, no,
realized that
no.
some people are
Put
either
the
just
gun up.
ignorant or some people just don't really care. They just say the first thing that's on their mind. And it don't hurt
Mhm.
my feelings no more. The only thing that makes me upset is when people say that I don't know who I am or what I am. That's the only thing that upsets me. Like, how are you gonna tell me that I don't know who I
Mhm.
am? You know what I'm saying? Like, that
Yeah.
shit is stupid. Or like, I do have a friend that loves to say, you're not black," and he be dead ass serious, and I'd be like, why can't you accept the fact that I'm black? Because your dad's Mexican, that means you're Mexican. So you just gonna disregard the fact that my mama is a black woman? You just gonna forget that I have a mom and that's who I was raised with?
Mhm.
Like, so I'm just not black. And that
I don't
hurts my
like
feelings
the
because
one.
it makes me feel like, am I not black enough for you though? How much more black do you want me to be when I was raised in my black family and all types of shit? Because if it came down to it
Mhm.
and y'all wanted me to choose a side and I don't choose black, then what? Exactly. It's gonna be a problem. Oh, I thought you were black. I thought I was black too, nigga. The fuck? Like, but you treat me like I'm not black enough for you, and I'm not Mexican enough for Mexican motherfuckers, and it's annoying as shit. But if I don't
Wait, do
choose
you speak
y'all, if
Spanish?
there's some type of battle and I don't choose y'all, it's gonna be a problem. No, I don't speak Spanish. I'm a nigga. Exactly. Niggas don't speak
Pause.
Spanish. Like what? What?
That's hilarious,
That's
fam.
funny.
I feel like it's fucked up that they would do that
Like
because I feel like there's already a lot of biracial people who try to like denounce their blackness. So for somebody who is
Mhm.
biracial to try to embrace it and then the black community be like, "No, we don't accept you," I feel like that's kind of weird. And but I feel
Yeah.
like it's been
exactly.
a thing back to
I
like
got
the
a little.
whole,
My brother and sister are. And like my brother and sister are some chocolate drops. What I look like not being for the black people when looking at my brother and sister, even if for some reason I just wanted to say I'm only Mexican. My brother and sister are not.
But what did
They
you
are
do for
black.
MLK
I would
Day,
never,
huh?
you know what I'm saying?
Miss Nubian Queen. Did you celebrate
I
MLK Day
chilled in the house
yesterday?
like I was supposed to, and I stayed out the way.
Okay, that was a
Celebrated
great
how?
niggerly answer.
Like,
That was a great
Yeah,
that
what do we do
like
on what do we
how
do on
exactly were we
MLK
supposed
Day
to
for
celebrate
real?
I, I feel like for him, you gotta go
Shit,
fuck a
man.
white girl.
We enjoyed the day off, that's for sure.
I
I
Oh
don't
did.
know.
Lord.
Marching the
See,
parade
but
like
that's
a good.
crazy that you asked that because if my brother, I don't want to see my brother with a white woman. If I'm being honest, whether he becomes as successful as I know he will become, I don't want to see him with a white woman. I feel like I would. I mean, obviously, I don't have any control over that, but I'm gonna talk shit. I'm gonna definitely come with all the jokes and all the shit if he brings home a white woman. So I can't say that I wouldn't. I don't know. I can't say that I wouldn't feel some type of way. Only because it's like, but why? You could have just dated a Mexican chick. Like, but then don't do that because then she looked like me, and that's kind of weird. But it's just like, come on now, why would you? But
He damned if he do
that
and he
ain't my
damned if he
decision
don't.
though.
Basically, just bring home a black woman.
Exactly. Like, come on now. That's what I'm saying. Just bring home a black woman. But right now, his girlfriend is black though, so I'm like, oh, okay, okay. And that's like the first thing I'll be asking because my little sister be liking white boys, and her first boyfriend was a white boy. So every time she says she got a little whoop de whoop, I'll be like, what color is he? Is he a little white boy? He like Justin Bieber? Cause she like niggas that look like Justin Bieber.
She look like Justin Bieber.
I be like, bro, like she a whole chocolate drop out here dating the whitest of white boys. Like, how do you feel about that, Tasia? About a black woman dating a white man? Because there's double standards about that. About a black man dating a white woman versus a black woman dating a white man. There's double standards. So how do you
I
feel
don't
about that,
think there
Tasia?
is a double standard to
You
that.
you can bring home a white man, but your brother can't bring home a white woman.
That's how it is in my house for 100%. 100%. That's exactly how it is in my house. I could bring home a white man. I could walk through this door tomorrow with Justin Bieber, like you said, and my mom ain't gonna blink twice. But let my brother bring home
How does that
Angelina
work?
Jolie or somebody. She ain't rocking with it. She ain't fucking with it,
She gonna
bro.
have a hissy fit. She
She
gonna
gonna
have
have
a
a
whole hissy
problem,
fit.
bro. Bro, literally, and it's dead. My hand to God. My mama told my brother, if you bring home and marry a white woman, you out the will. You don't get nothing.
And funny enough, a
Damn,
lot
not
of
out
black
the
people
wheel.
think like that, and that's why when I said what did I say earlier about like
She not
shunning the
playing.
nigga like a family or outcast or disowning the nigga, like that's a real thing. Like in the black community, depending on who you bring home, you could for sure get disowned from your family or some like niggas stop talking to you and shit like that.
I wouldn't stop talking to my brother. I would just be like side eyeing him, like,
But some parents have like a sense of not necessarily entitlement, but they get like almost offended or feel some type of way. Because I have a grandma
yeah.
who is like super Black Panther type shit, and for her, like I know for a fact if I brought a white girl home, like she would stop talking to me. Like not that we
Mm.
really talk now, anyways. Fucking crackhead, but anywho, but we stop it, fam. We all got
I
family.
was not expecting that though. I wasn't expecting you
We
to just
no, we all got family members
just
on
up
drugs.
and
Don't do
say
that.
that like that.
Well, I mean, this is the truth. My grandma's on drug addiction.
And then just
I've,
caught
I've
me
spoken
off
about it.
guard.
I've spoken about it on station there before. Like my family tried to
I
get me to
didn't
like
hear
talk her into going to therapy and everything. It was like the
I didn't
biggest
hear
waste
that.
of time ever.
I didn't hear that. It just caught me off guard. I apologize.
Like,
Caught
insert
me off
Kevin
guard.
Hart meme where he's like, "Dang,
No, for real. Damn. Okay.
excuse me, I'm still trying to get over this fucking cough." But no, I think that I don't know. For me, family influence was always kind of a thing because anybody I dated, if nothing else, my mom was always super opinionated. And that was actually to like my detriment in my very first relationship, even though it was a really long relationship. My mom could not stand my girlfriend. She wasn't white, she was a black girl, but my mom just she had her reasons for not liking my fucking girlfriend. And
Mm.
she made it be known. Like anytime the girl would come around, my mom was like super standoffish, always made the room super uncomfortable, would like gossip about her to like the other parents from the kids at my high school and shit like that. And my mom was on the PTA board and shit like that. She was like one of them super involved parents when she finally graduated from college. And so but yeah, she just really was not feeling Shorty. And it like kind of fucked with our relationship because this was the super family oriented girl I was talking about at the beginning of the fucking show. Like her family was always inviting me to stuff like that and was super welcoming to me. Her mom like loved me and shit like that. Me and her brother used to go and hoop and shit together. Like I was like they added me into the fucking family. But my mom just was not fucking with this girl. And
At
so
all?
she would come to me sometimes. One time she was actually crying and was like, "Yo, it kind of bothers me that I don't have a relationship with your mom." And I was like,
Mm.
"It bothers me that y'all niggas have fucking family dinner every
Aw.
goddamn Sunday. Let's talk about it."
Right.
But
Oh, is that the same? I was gonna say, is that the
yeah,
same girl
no,
that
it was the
was
same. It was the same
okay?
one. Yeah, the same family oriented girl that I was talking about at the beginning.
Okay,
But yeah, like so we were together for like this abortion girl, and everything. Just we was together for
gotcha.
like 4 years. Like we was together for a pretty good amount of time. Like from the
Mm,
time I graduated high school till basically the pandemic popped off, we was like to like it's like a thing. And
mm.
so a lot happened in that 4 years. And before we moved in together in like the first year and a half of the relationship where we were still trying to get like just a feel for each other and stuff. And as the relationship was developing, it was just a lot of stress on the relationship because like even after I graduated high school, anytime I told my mom I was going out with her, she'd be like, okay, well be home by 7.
Oh,
And she'd be dead ass serious too, and like and it's like and she like threatened to take my car and shit like that, and so it would just be like a lot. Like I took like on the girl's birthday, my mom tried to stop me from going out with her on her birthday. She was having a birthday dinner, and I told my mom, and it was in the middle of the summer. I didn't have shit to fucking do that afternoon, and my mom was like, hey, and I told her in advance, like, yo, Aaron's having a birthday dinner downtown, blah 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 blah. She had no problem with it. And then the day of, I'm getting dressed. Oh, where are you going? Nigga, it's my girlfriend's birthday. We getting ready to we getting ready to go out. No, you're not.
oh,
No, you're
oh
not. I need you to
wow.
go. You just pull some shit out her ass. I need you to go bake some bacon and cook some cookies real quick.
Do something else but that.
I need you to go like
Basically.
go walk the fish real quick, and then I need you to go like change my oil in my car and like give me a full tire rotation.
Damn.
It's just and so I ended up just saying fuck it and I left anyways and then I ended up getting like grounded for like the rest of the fucking summer when I came back home. But it was like a little statement where just I had to kind of like prove because my mom she just would always shit on a relationship. Like you in 6 months she not even gonna matter. Like and funny enough, I think my mom really drove me into her arms.
More like
Yeah.
after that, yeah,
Like
just because
with
she like didn't
like
like her so much.
yeah, because I was just like
Mm-hmm.
part of what made our relationship last so long was me not wanting to let the relationship fail because I didn't want my mom to be right. So
I
there was
see
a lot
that.
of
I
times
can
when
see
we were
that.
going through stuff or we was arguing through stuff and I went through hell and back to fix a situation just off the fact of I cannot let this relationship fail. Because if I
Mm-hmm.
gotta go back to this lady and tell her she was right, I'm pussy. So
I
so
feel you on that.
Oh wow.
I probably would say my last relationship was like that because I was ain't no way, ain't no way nobody back home, ain't no way, no way, no way, no way, no way, no way. But I
yeah,
could see that from a black, like from a man's perspective, even a man's perspective, but a black man's perspective, and just like being in that situation, like I could definitely see that. Like, nah, this gonna work. I'm gonna prove you wrong, mama. Like, I'm gonna be right. You know what I'm saying?
because I felt like my mom didn't give her a fair chance.
Yeah.
From the very first day of the
Oh
relationship, I
damn,
showed
because she was a white girl.
no, and I think I might have in that case I might have had a better chance. Okay, so quick story time. So I used to be in this, and this actually is a pretty good segue into my next question because I wanted to ask y'all about like dating within friend groups and shit like that. But so when I was in high school, I had a pretty hard time making friends. Okay, go figure.
Hmm.
Right? Me having a hard time talking to people, but I just got over my stuttering problem. I basically and I went to elementary, middle school, and high school with my god brother, but he was a grade ahead of me. So I was just so used to clinging on to him and just hanging out with his friends and shit, or whoever my teammates were for whatever sports team I was playing for. And so in high school, just like in the rest of my life, I was hanging out with my god brother and his homies in school and shit like that up until they graduated and went off to college. And so in hanging out with him, I met this girl, and my homie had a thing for her too, but she didn't like him back. And so he basically made up a lie and told everybody that he smashed and they were dating and they weren't. Like he
Damn.
shot his shot and just airballed. And this was before me and her started dating. And so but like I said, my mom was like really involved in like the PTA and stuff like that. And so basically all of my friends, like our parents used to talk and shit like that. Like these bitches used to go out and eat lunch. They used to go to all the meetings together. Every time the schools would be doing something, hey, y'all going to this game? Y'all doing this? I heard they. It's like they was just them type of parents. And so I guess word and it was some gossipy ass motherfuckers too, Cam. Y'all ever wonder where I get my skills from? It's from my mama. Shouts out to my dudes. Hope you see this shit one day. But so I guess word got around a little parent group that my god brother and this girl were dating or whatever. And so when me and her ended up getting together like a year and some change later, my mom thought that she was like homie hopping. And so from day one, my mom didn't like the girl because she had some false information about her, and she thought that the girl was like basically a hoe, and I just couldn't see it. And so she just never gave. So from day one, I was like, "Hey, mom, I got a girlfriend." I showed her, and then she was like, "Oh no, no, I heard about her." Then she used to be with so and so, and I was like, "Nah, that wasn't really." And she was like, "Because I talked to Karen about it, and blah 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 blah," and it was just a whole little thing. And so I was just like, "Okay, cool. So you gonna shit on this and not even hear me out?" And from day one, I was like, "All right, cool. I got it. Don't worry about it. I got this." You said in 6 months she not gonna matter, but and yeah, so yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
if you,
But was she
I'm not
right
even
though?
gonna say if you would you have married like a white woman? Like, since we're talking about successful black men, like let's just say you're like successful, whoop de whoop. We're just speaking hypothetically. Like, would you marry a white woman?
I don't think I could. I think
Okay.
that the cultural differences would be too much for me. And even like the white girls from back home, because growing up in South Florida, it's like you're used to being around a bunch of different type of people. So the white girls were around, and not
Hmm.
that I don't think that there's not attractive white girls out there, but even in the times like I've been at smoke sessions where I've hung around white girls and stuff like that, I've just never ever been around one where our personalities were, or they were like sparks in the air or something like that. So
Right.
I just can't see myself marrying. Like I just don't ever see that happening just off the fact that I don't know what we have in common. And especially y'all niggas heard parts of my life on Station Head. I just with
Yeah.
me having the upbringing I've had and as ghetto as my family is, I feel like my family would scare a little white girl. So I'm not
I
even
mean, they'll scare black girl if you ain't used to it. I'll be like,
yeah,
I'll
especially if you ever meet my uncle or some shit
be
like that. You
frightened.
you meet that little nigga, is you gonna be in for a rude awakening.
Not a little nigga. Little nigga.
Thanks. And funny enough, on some just COE shit, I've actually had one of my exes I've interviewed one of my exes on AMP before just so she could, because I wanted to hear her perspective on what it was like living with me and my uncle for a little bit. Because it was like she was going through some shit with her family, and she was like, it started off with her just spending the night, and then she was basically just there every fucking day. And she was there for a lot of him, like pulling guns out and shooting guns in the house and like doing like the police show, like
Oh
like
wow.
yeah, so that was a
Hmm.
funny because to just hear about my family from an objective party,
Hmm.
in under most circumstances, it would be embarrassing, but because it just is, I just can't help but laugh at it. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know, man. I love my wacky ass family. And I think because I've been able to tell so many funny stories and I've been able to like get so much content out of it, I guess I won't say the ends justify the means, but I don't know. They got it worked out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, two arrests, a few missed close shots, and some other bullshit later, but it worked out.
To say the least.
It
Hmm.
worked out.
Literally.
You know,
But
you can switch your Instagram into a creator account.
yeah,
Yeah.
I I didn't know that. I thought it was only like when it says professional account. I didn't know that you could change it to creator.
yeah,
Hmm.
definitely.
Yeah.
Dang.
But
Okay. I'm
I
learning
wanted to
some shit.
backtrack a little bit and ask, how do you guys feel about dating within a friend group, or like, yeah, how do you guys feel about? I'm gonna just leave it right there. How do you guys feel about dating within a friend group?
Like, as far as like,
Mm.
if one of my girls talked to the boy before, or
Just even
like,
if not one of your girls, but let's just say you're in a group of friends and there's three guys and three girls, and you might fancy one of the guys within the friend group. But all of you guys hang out together, y'all in group chats together, y'all, do little group shit like
I
activities
kind
together.
of
Like,
feel like I kind of feel like it can be detrimental to the friend group. And I say this only
mhm.
because one of my closest friends, she dated this guy in our friend group, And anytime they had problems, it was like the whole friend group had problems with them. And or like he would get, since they're all friends, it's almost like, oh, so she hanging out with y'all, and y'all know I just had a fight with her. Y'all supposed to be my homies, but they her homies too, and they've
Right,
been
like
knowing her
type of
since eighth
time.
grade. You know what I'm saying? So how, you know what I'm saying? It just gets real tricky. So I kind of try to stay away from the whole dating in my friend group, especially if they really are my close friends. But sometimes you just sometimes
Yeah, zoo
you
with a zoo.
sometimes it could, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes the connection is there, but I do feel like
Yeah.
you probably shouldn't. Did somebody just walk behind TT?
Yeah, that was Lisa.
That shit. Oh, okay, I was about to say that's some freaky shit,
She
bro. I thought that was a goddamn ghost. I was like, what the fuck, bro? That shit was
wait, her
scary
facial
as shit.
expression was priceless.
I was like, what
But
the fuck just
be
happened?
I think close friends, it just depends on how close I am in that friend group. Close, like we like this. No. No, because it's just gonna be weird. And
But I feel like that's how you end up finding the best candidate because you
you
hang out all
could,
the
I mean,
time. Y'all like you cracking joke like because and I feel like and I hate to say it. Well, no, I don't hate to say it, but best friends oftentimes make the best partners because y'all not only are you not necessarily expecting it, but y'all are hanging around each other in some intimate, non-sexual ways, and you're getting to see them for who they really are. And it's like you done seen them through some rough times. They done seen you through some rough times. Y'all got a bunch of memories going to football games and bullshit together. Like,
I'll put it like this. I get what you're saying. Like it could definitely make for a very good excuse me, relationship, but um all my best friends, male best friends, are sluts. So, well, actually, no, I take that back. They're married, but in their slut days, I would never,
They married
I would
now
never.
though, because my homeboys are the same
Yeah,
way. They was some big ass hoes,
yeah, I just would
but now they
never. And
family
then
men.
like when it comes to my girls, like I would never put them off on none of my guy friends. Um, so I don't know. I feel like if it's like acquaintances and like we're just mutual, that's different. But like we super close, like grew up together, like type of time. No,
but
I can't
I think,
because
and I don't,
I
it's
start looking at you like a brother for real,
yeah,
for
I can
real,
see that. I can see
for
that, but
real.
I think there's also times where you might be introduced to somebody in a friend group, and you might not never see them as a brother. But because you guys were
Hmm.
introduced within the friend group, it's like you're forced to keep it friendly.
Yeah, but then what
Because
if it
I
doesn't
think
work
Yeah,
out?
what if
right.
But
Then
then
like
if it's
yeah,
one of
like
your close
then
friends,
what?
if it don't
relationship
work out,
doesn't work
y'all gonna
out?
be in each other's face all the time. It's gonna be awkward every time y'all try to hang out.
Not necessarily. I've seen it
And,
work out
and
in
I mean,
instances
if
where it
it
just
could get a little sticky like that though, depending. It could get
It
like that.
could.
it can get sticky, and more times than not, it probably will get sticky. But I think that not every relationship has to end with people hating each other or taking a shit ton of shots at each other and shit like that. Like I've had some amicable. Fuck, I thought I was gonna get that word off, but
You been
You
smoking a
basically
lot. I
did
mean,
though.
we
You
we
did.
we out. We at the top of the hour. You
you know,
push it out, TT.
am, amicable, amicable,
Amicable, amicable,
appreciate you, my nigga.
amicable.
That's
There
why
you
you
go.
keep real niggas around. You hold me down.
I got you. I
But
got you.
but yeah, you have situations that don't always end with you hating with each other. And I'm actually proud to say, like, even though like I don't talk to any of my exes really, that we don't hate each other. Or there was
Yeah.
except for like maybe one salty ass bitch. There's no like throwing dirt on each other's name or resentment, at least not on my end. I don't think there's no resentment or I ain't heard no stories like so and so said this about you. Like it was just like okay, this ain't working. This is kind of toxic for both of us. We probably going to end up killing each other if we don't separate. Like we were able to, for the most part. I think I do a pretty good job at giving closure or like putting the little stamp on the letter. Like I try not
Yeah.
to leave people just hanging in the wind, like because I feel like that's kind of a fucked up thing to do, like to just
Yeah.
break up with somebody without really explaining what's going on or why you
Hmm.
breaking up with them. Because I think more times than not, I was the one doing the breaking up with, so just like on some kind of courtesy shit. It's just like, I'm not really feeling this no more. And
Like
I don't want
it's not you, it's me. It's it's
not.
TT Spielberg.
Have you ever
I
been in?
gotta.
But have you ever been in a situation where it was like obviously them and definitely not you? Where it's like it's not
Oh, for
you,
sure.
it's
Oh,
not
for
me, it's you.
sure.
Like it's definitely not
I
me,
think
it's
I
you.
told us, I hinted at, briefly brought it up on Taser's podcast yesterday, or whenever. I think yeah, it was yesterday, right? I'm sure. Yeah, I'm
I
sure.
think it was yesterday.
Yeah,
I think it
that
was
was
yesterday.
yesterday. Where I dealt with her for like 3 weeks, and once I saw the signs were there, I was just out of there, and it was 100% her. But because her
Hmm.
mental stability was just in the pits of hell, I knew she wasn't gonna take any type of accountability, and if I wanted a clean exit, I was gonna have to take the blame and just let her get her shit off, and niggas ain't shit me to death, and then let her feel like she blocked me and get her shit off. But she was 100% toxic. This bitch had she woke up in the morning drinking Hennessy,
Oh God,
Damn.
not
and that's
dog
not an
water.
Not drinking
exaggeration.
Oh,
Like,
Hennessy.
go to sleep
ooh,
drinking Hennessy. She was
Not
ooh.
even a
last
mimosa.
night.
He said a Hennessy.
No, and she drunk that
Mm.
bitch room temp. Didn't even keep it in the fridge or nothing. Bottle just sitting on the nightstand. Wake up in the morning
Ugh.
and just take a shot like it's Listerine. Like, and like
That is dog
talk
water.
about fighting demons. Like, she was going through some shit. But just me having the type of awareness I have about mental health and stuff like that, I was able to recognize that she was going through some shit
Hmm.
that came way before me and her ever met on TV.
Right, right.
Like, and so, it was fun while it lasted, and but it just I it was clear it was 100% her. Like, I don't even think she 100% liked men. I think she just liked having sex with me, but she was consistently bringing up her little girlfriend and then trying to invite her over to the house and stuff like that, and shit. It was just she was
That's
going.
crazy.
She was going. So to answer your question, yeah, I've been in situations where it wasn't me, but I don't know. I
I,
think you just got to be the bigger person sometimes.
I think all my situations it was never me. I've done a lot of self reflecting. I'm not talking like I'm kidding.
She's saying it was never me.
It
It
was
was never
never
me.
me. It was never
Let
Women
me.
character.
I'm
let,
not toxic. It was
no,
never
let my
me.
man tell it. It was for show you.
It was never me. Yeah, it was never me. But no, I've been in a situation where they thought it was me, but then they come to the realization, like
They
I
thought
said,
it was
like
you.
TT, yeah, then they come to the realization that it was never me. Like, bro, my ex just called me 2 days ago, drunk, left his ass in November. He just called me 2 days ago. I was not, whoop, 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 what. Next day, still sober on the same type of time. It was never me. I'm not the problem. It's you. Y'all need to heal. It's never me. I'm healing. I'm not healed. I'm healing. But I have been in a
I don't got
situation.
enough evidence to call Cap, but I'm gonna call Cap anyways, just because I feel like I don't
You
know your
call
ex.
whatever the fuck you want to call. You can call
I
whatever the fuck you want to call. I got receipts. Okay, I can call whatever the fuck you
She
want to
got
call. I
receipts.
got receipts. I, I'm not. All my exes are cool with me. Literally to this day, still comment. They y'all done seen them come through the live.
Is that
Hey,
toxic?
what's up,
Man,
Taze?
I
It
got an
could
ex
be.
writing me
It
from
could be because
jail
I
right
don't block
now.
anybody. I don't block anybody. I
Bro,
don't block
I
nobody.
have an
It could be.
ex writing me from prison right now. I just got a letter from him and he in prison. I'm like, bro,
Prison
you
Bay?
ain't gonna
What
never
are
leave
you
me
Prison
doing
alone.
with
Bay.
prison? What are you doing with a prison Bay?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You
Like
don't even
what?
strike me as the prison
He
Bay
was my
type.
first he was my first
Facts.
ever boyfriend when I was 16. Listen, he was that was when I was 16, but one of our mutual friends from when we were still in school thought it would be funny because I've been having the same phone number for 10 years, literally. He thought it would be
I
funny to
was that
give
way
my
for
phone
a
number to
minute.
him.
You
And I
got
didn't
them
even know
same
he
phone
was
number
in prison.
five times.
I hadn't spoken to him in like maybe 10, 15 years. And he was calling my phone, but I didn't know he was in prison because he was calling me. So I was like, who is this? And he
Yeah,
told
niggas
me,
got
and I was
phones in
like,
jail now.
and I was like, and then so we was chopping it up, and then he said
Niggas in
something about how a
prison went
CO
crazy.
or somebody was coming and how he had to like put the phone down, like hide the phone real quick. And I said, "What you mean you gotta hide the phone?" He was like, "Yeah, D Brown didn't tell you I'm in prison, nigga. No,
Bitch, I'm a rebel right now.
I didn't even tell him to give you my number, bro. He gave me my number because
Mm-hmm.
he thought it was funny. He thought that shit was funny." and you hitting me up. I didn't know you were in
I
prison. How
was
are you
gonna
even
ask,
talking to
would
me?
you get back with him after he get if
If he
you
got
let him
out.
go?
No, he told me
Like, would you let him
he told
take
me
you
he
on
got
a
50
date? Or
years. That nigga ain't getting out. He said he got 50 years. That nigga ain't getting out.
scratch that
That nigga's
question.
not getting out.
Forget I forget. Look,
All right.
forget I even asked that. That
And to
wasn't
get
that.
50 years, what the fuck did you do to get 50 years, bro? Nah, I'm good on it.
Yeah. That nigga killed
Like, and then
somebody. I heard
now he
like
just, I was like, look, don't be
attempted
calling me
to.
from no
Oh,
contraband ass, exactly, with no contraband ass phone. Don't be fucking calling me and shit,
did y'all
so I can
see?
get me
Okay,
in trouble with your
that
ass.
was a great story. I mean, not great story. Fuck. Welcome to the smoker section.
I love
That was
it.
a
I
great
love
segue.
it.
No, no, I'm sorry, because that sounded rude as fuck. That was a great segue because I actually wanted to ask y'all, did y'all see the story of the nigga doing the little Puma shit, jumping over the stand to get the judge when she was playing on his head, talking greasy to the nigga?
Yes, yes.
And I just want to remind y'all he was a Gemini, so don't play with us. Mm-hmm.
How you know he was a Gemini? You just saying
Cause I
that?
look, bro, that's public record. I looked up his
Wait, look,
birthday.
you should look at no. I actually looked into that a little bit too, and they is trying to throw the book at him. I saw the follow up
As
video
they
where,
should.
as they should not, and I wanted to ask y'all how y'all feel about that sentencing. I think right now
Okay.
they and I can't remember exactly how many years, but when the lady was reading the charges, it sounded like they just started making up shit once they got to like charge 8 out of 13.
Okay, that's true. Cause they did just start throwing stuff at him. Cause his original sentence was like he got sentenced like 18 to 19 or 20 some 21 odd some odd months for like an assault or something like that had to do with his sister or something like that. But what you have to understand is like when he jumped over there, she was going over what he had previously already done. Like he had already been robbing niggas. He had already been like doing all this stuff. And she was telling him, like, yeah, with that record, I just can't. Like, I think it's time you get like because he was already out in society. They were telling him, like, yeah, you need to be in jail for a little bit. He said, no, look that, and jumped over. She was telling the
But
man
I
he
feel
shouldn't
like
be out.
what would made him what would make you think that that was gonna keep you out of jail though? By jumping over
Right.
that thing, did you like what would make you
But
think
that, and
that
that's
that would
what,
be okay for you?
but that's what leads me to my bigger point. When I looked into the situation with the dude, that's not a normal man.
He does have mental health issues. He does. You're
And
right.
that's
You're
what I
right.
was kind of alluding to with the sentencing thing. That whole video was out of context. As fucking funny as it was, and that video was hilarious. Like, and it's funny
It
because retarded
was.
people be all having the
Did you
crazy
see how
ass
fast
medicine.
people were reenacting it? You see how fast people started reenacting it, like on
That video
TikTok and
went
stuff?
on the internet for 3 hours, and niggas was already jumping over shit, man.
Already making videos and shit. The internet is
I hate the internet.
undefeated.
Oh shit, excuse me.
And
Um,
she
but
was a white lady, like, bro.
facts, and you can tell everybody in that courtroom was white because nobody read the signs. Like
Mm-hmm.
even in listening to that video
Nobody knew he was about to.
when I heard bros, what did he say? It was like you got me fucked up. Or he said some shit before he jumped up, and
He
when he
said,
said
"Nah, fuck
that
that."
shit, yeah, and right, and that's like nigga 101 for y'all break yourself. Like I heard that shit, and I looked around the courtroom, and nobody moved, nobody like grabbed nothing, and they just.
Nobody.
And so I was like, okay, cool. Y'all have never dealt with a nigga before, but all right, moving forward, I do like, and I get it. I get it. I think there should be some type of punishment, but I remember reporting on the story about there was a boy who was like 17 years old at the time who attacked like the teacher aide or something because she took his Nintendo Switch from him. But the boy suffered from autism amongst a bunch of other disorders and learning disabilities and things of that nature. And they still tried him and they still kept him in jail for like a year. They kept pushing the trial back, waited till he turned 18, tried him as an adult, ended up giving the boy like 50 something years. And with no regard for the autism, the fact that the proper precautions weren't taken on the school's part. And so back to the young man we were talking about who just pole vaulted over the damn stand and got the judge. He's documented as being schizophrenic amongst a bunch of other shit.
Mhm.
And a big part of his trial, and while the judge was sitting there making a bunch of jokes, and and she was like reading off his priors and shit like that, and was like saying it in a real snarky voice, and she was like getting her shit off. I was kind of feeling, bro, when he decided to jump over the shit. I'm not gonna lie, like she had like a little sass in her voice when she was getting his charges
She
off.
did.
Like she was kind of disgusted with the filth that was in front of her. And so in that, and bro says, you said it, like fuck the hell, like this bitch got me fucked up, like.
Mm,
And so, but
The bitch got me
this,
fucked up.
once I read and saw this, for
mhm.
one, with the schizophrenia just jumped off the screen to me, because that in
Mhm.
itself means, bitch, I'm crazy. And
Facts.
so,
Mm-hmm.
not to say that he should just be given a complete pass, but I did think there was like some type of mishandling there. And I think oftentimes when you see black men who suffer from some type of mental health issues, they aren't necessarily handled properly in the courtrooms.
Mhm. I mean, do you
Did
think
you know
in
that
that
schizophrenics
aspect
are
there
more
should
likely to
be
hurt them? Hmm?
Wait,
there like I was gonna say, do you think in that aspect like they should be sent to like mental institutions and then you know I wouldn't say rehabilitated
I
into
think they should get whatever treatment the white people get when they get to plead in temporary
well
insanity.
well
If we going on what I think, like
mhm.
is that realistic? No,
Mm-hmm.
in America. But
It's not.
just asking
Especially
what
if
I
they're actually schizophrenic. How is it going to help to put
Mhm.
a schizophrenic in Gen Pop? How is that supposed to help that
and that
person?
leads to a bigger question: is the prison system really here to help?
No, no.
Nah.
And
Uh
so that answers your question. And that's kind of that oftentimes is my frustration, is that the prison is looked at as like, or broadcast or advertised as like timeout for adults, where you're gonna go sit and think about your actions, and then when you come out, you're gonna be ready to take on the world. And
and you're not.
we've all seen motherfuckers who've done five
No,
plus
but
years.
there's so much that and there's so much that happens in prison that you gonna become a whole different person anyway just because of the environment in prison. How can somebody get better and
Facts.
be rehabilitated when the
Facts.
environment and the conditions of the prison are what
Who
they
are
are? There's
video.
no way
I
they're rehabilitated.
There's
they
so many and there's so many people that literally that I've seen go do their time, come out of jail, and then come into society and be like, I would much rather just be back inside. It was easier for me in there.
them
Like,
niggas living good now. You heard
Hmm.
me?
That's
right.
that's
Niggas
how a
having
lot of them are.
niggas in jail
Yeah.
be
And
on
he didn't. And
TikTok
he
now. They
listen.
keep showing
He
their
didn't just
recipes
have
off.
no little flip phone neither. He didn't just have no little raggedy flip
Oh,
phone like a burner phone. That nigga,
niggas
he
be
No,
had
they
a
be
having
whole
having
iPhone.
iPhones.
Yes, he
they
had
Them
a
be
niggas
whole
be having
iPhone
iPhones.
FaceTiming me. I was
they
like,
be
when
like
he
2 or 3
FaceTimed me,
models removed now. They
that's
don't
when I knew he was in
iPhone.
prison.
Niggas might have an iPhone X in there right now.
Now it's a old exactly. It's an old ass
Yeah,
iPhone, but they still
he
got
might
an
be
iPhone
3 or 4
though.
iPhones removed, but he gonna have some iOS up in there.
Yes, exactly. And you see how they be making TikTok videos and shit. That shit real.
Yeah, they be showing off the
They
recipes and shit
really
like that. But I love
exactly.
but one thing I will say though, and I know a lot of people make their jokes about the niggas in there, it does give me some type of relief to see them with their heads up a little bit, because I got a few homies that's locked up. Whether they, I got like my god, I got a family member that's in the state pen right now in Florida, just because he just breaking, entering, going wrong,
And if you got a
and that
little
was,
money too, you'll be all right if you got a little money because
yeah,
commissary you gonna have enough of commissary, and when you buy stuff like cigarettes and all the other stuff like from commissary, you can trade that shit. That's money,
niggas done figured out how to
really.
turn the fucking
Commissary
shit.
and shit like that.
Saw the
They
TikTok
know
where
how to
niggas,
turn the cartons of cigarettes, all types of shit.
they
They
done
know how to
pulled a
do
shit.
better transitions on TikTok than we do.
No, they done took the light off the ceiling and took the wires out, and then put the wires on the grill of the bed, and made a grill. Like they done wrapped the wires from the light
Oh
around
yeah,
like
that too.
metal from the bed, and heated the bed up and turned the bed, and then pulled the mattress off and turned it into a grill. And I'm like, the level of ingenuity that y'all niggas have in prisons never ceases to amaze me, fam.
You'll
Like
be surprised how
I'm
creative you will get.
Facts. I'm watching a video. Nigga done got stabbed up because he took a shit in the toilet, and I'm sitting there like, well, where the fuck else is you supposed to take a shit? And they like, nah, fam, we keep the toilets clean because we cook in there.
Oh hell no! What
And
the
I'm
fuck?
like,
Like,
so
I mean, I know they be cooking in there because I know because I've seen it. I've seen it. I don't know what movie I was watching, but I've seen the shit before. But where you gonna shit at then? Where you supposed to? Now I do know from talking to him on the phone because I heard him flushing the toilet a lot because the toilet sound loud as shit, and I kept wondering why he kept pressing it over and over again. And he said that's like a courtesy thing when you peeing in the toilet, you just keep flushing it so the person won't hear you peeing. I'm like, okay, so y'all got like rules up in there that
But
y'all
now
make sure
don't they
y'all
gotta just
follow to
don't
be
they just hear you
considerate to the other
flushing it a bunch
person.
of times now?
Yeah, they hear you flushing, but I guess it's supposed to be better than hearing you piss. I guess.
I guess.
I
I
guess.
guess.
I guess because you don't want to hear. I guess because you don't want to hear another man pissing, or you don't want. I don't know. I just know that's what he said because I kept asking him why he. I mean, because I asked him why he kept pressing the button. Because I
I
was like, what the
just,
hell, like. But like I feel like if you're taking a shit, like when you first start taking the shit, you supposed to flush the toilet. As soon as the first drop goes in the toilet, you supposed to flush that bitch. And if you
wait,
don't, that's what makes your bathroom start thinking.
is this prison rules or is this just normal everyday rules? Because this is my first time hearing this.
I think this should be normal everyday news.
So off the first drop, you flood.
You flush the toilet.
But what if it's a lot? What if it's more than just like one?
Just let it all
Cause
come
you
out. The first
wait,
load,
normal
let it come
toilet,
out and then
normal
flush the
toilet.
toilet.
Wait, hold on,
Let
because
the
now you.
first load, let the first splat come out and then flush the toilet.
But how do
I'm
you even
dead
sit in a
ass.
position to
Like,
do that?
I'm
Why you
dead
wait?
ass.
No, hold on. 'Cause I don't-
And if you're at somebody's house taking a shit and you know that the shit smells, even though you did what
I
I
don't
told you
shit
to
at
do,
other people's houses.
you're not
I
supposed
don't
to
shit.
spray perfume that actually smells good. You're supposed to spray perfume that kind of stinks a little bit.
First of all, why is you shitting at somebody else's house? Go home.
Sometimes you got to.
No, mm-mm.
Like,
If I
sometimes
don't,
you don't. Sometimes you can't
if
make it
I
home.
I've never felt comfortable shitting at somebody's house, fam. My stomach doesn't even think to start hurting when I'm at somebody's house, my nigga. Like if like I will leave whatever function is like I don't I shitting outside of my house is like a no no. I just don't, fam. I'm not
So
at a
you rather
restaurant.
make
Not
yourself constipated. You might as well
yes.
you rather make
I'm that
yourself
nigga that will
constipated than
end
go
up
use
in
the
the
bathroom.
emergency room because I didn't. Because here's the thing, fam, and not to get like now that we getting close with each other, I got crazy shits, fam. Like I know my shit, and so what I'm not like, well, so what I'm not fin to do is tear your bathroom down and then you go in there reenacting the scenes from Friday and shit like that. That's crazy.
Lisa laughing because she
The
like, hell
type of
yeah, his
shits
shit
I
be
be
funky.
having, fam, the type of shits I have will ruin a friendship.
Oh my gosh, I'm dead. That's why you supposed to flush the toilet right when you start. Right when they start
No,
dropping in the toilet,
fam.
just start flushing that bitch.
But that's the thing, fam. And I hate to go all the way there, but for the sake of making a point, sometimes I be having like them continuous shits where it's just like, like
And then you just
it's
supposed to
just coming out of it.
flush
So
as it
like I
go.
don't, like I feel like I don't fuck up the water pressure or some shit like that. Like I don't. Nah, I don't think toilets are so. I'd rather just shit until completion and then flush. You feel me?
And
And
that's
then
why
just
your
let it all.
bathroom be funky.
But nah, dude, that's the thing. But that's the thing. I smoke at, but that's the thing. I shit in my own house, and what I do every time I feel like I got to take a shit, I take a joint or a roach in the bathroom with me, and I smoke while I'm shitting, so the bathroom smell like smoke. Because weed is gonna
Now it smell
cancel
like
out
weed and
anything.
shit.
No,
No, it's
I'm
not. It's
telling
still
you,
gonna smell
fam.
like
Weed
shit.
is. I put it on everything I love, fam. If you, especially if you smoke tobacco in your weed, like if you smoke out of like leaves and shit like that, between the tobacco and the weed, that smoke is killing everything.
Well, cigarette smoke, yeah. My mom had a homegirl. She would come.
No,
I
I
don't.
don't smoke cigs, but
It's
I
because
smoke
we had a
regular.
two. We lived in a
You want to
two
put that
master
out there, didn't
bedroom
you?
apartment,
You
and
think that
so
smoke is sexy?
whatchamacallit, she would use my bathroom at nighttime. She would come in my room and use my bathroom. My bathroom didn't have a door on it. I had a blanket over the damn thing. She would come in my room by my motherfucking bed in my bathroom and tear that motherfucker up and be having the nerve to smoke cigarettes while she doing it. So all you smell is cigarettes and shit. cigarettes and shit
Oh,
right there in my
smoking
room.
cigarettes
I'm
inside is
like, bro,
nasty work, man. This ain't the
like,
80s.
who the fuck does that shit? I'll be so mad. Like, mom, get your motherfucking friend out of my room, bro. Like, why she taking shit to my room? Like, bro, like, I'm dead.
Smoking
Don't
cigarettes
touch that
inside is
shit.
even when I would smoke my Black and Miles, I take my ass on the patio. Like smoking cigarettes inside in
Exactly. Even the black,
2023.
I just smoked the black, and I smoked that shit outside in the freezing cold. I'm not finna smoke that shit in the house.
Yeah, no, I'm never smoking like hard tobacco inside. Like even now, I be feeling kind of iffy just about the smell of the grab leaf sometimes. But you know, that's how I roll my joints. But I don't know. I'm a kind not a bougie smoker, but I'm kind of like a stoner elitist fan. Like I be having like a bunch of rules and shit that I have for myself when it comes to like smoking. Like my joints have to be rolled a certain type of way. I don't like certain strands of weed. I don't smoke out of certain things. Like I just I, like I can't smoke with certain people. I have to have like certain like I have to have some type of entertainment playing while I'm smoking. Like I just like for me there's like a checklist damn near that I have to go through when I'm smoking. And it's like it's damn near automated at this point, so I don't even think twice about it. But
Yeah, it's
for
muscle
me,
memory. I call it well. I think it's muscle memory.
yeah,
But
like my
I have
rolling
like a
true
whole little routine too. I have a whole little routine when I'm rolling up and when I'm about to smoke and shit.
facts, man. I think the routine helps because I think smoking in itself can be a very complicated process. Like just from rolling a joint, getting all the different things together, especially if you like me and be using scissors and snipping stuff and making sure everything is perfect. Like my joints, all of my joints have to be uniform. Like they're all like I don't know. I'm just super fucking
So
particular.
do you feel like you're more of a smoker than a drinker?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I'm a total lightweight when it comes to drinking, and that's why I don't drink that often. Because one, my body weight is mad low. Like as you can see, I'm skinny, so alcohol just hits me like a fucking brick. Like I can smell. Like oh, what the fuck is y'all laughing at? That wasn't the damn punchline.
Yes, it was.
Y'all let me tell the joke first. Fuck y'all. Anywho, but yeah, I'm not a heavy drinker whatsoever. Like you give me two shots of anything and I'm lit. You really sit there and let me drink and somebody's gonna have to grab me because I'm somebody who does not how handle alcohol well. Like I'm like you think that my mouth is reckless now when I'm just kicking people back in just off the smoking. When I drink, I'm that unfiltered loose cannon. Just especially like that's why I drink wine. Wine is my happy medium. I can drink a whole bunch of cups of wine. I get really bubbly and giggly and shit, but I'll be cool. But when I start
I
drinking
drink wine
tequila and
too.
stuff like I'm like, but tequila is like my. If I am gonna drink hard alcohol, it's gonna be tequila. That's like the only thing that I really like.
I
So,
can't really drink hard liquor. It makes me sick. I'm one of the
oh,
people where I don't get too rowdy or nothing like that. My ass gets
see,
sick.
that's
So
crown. That's
I just try not to see. But with me, it's the clear alcohol that makes me the most sick.
it's
Brown
dark liquor
alcohol
for
just
me.
be having me chill.
Mm.
So it's like, but I'm definitely a smoker. I'm definitely not. If anything, like you said, I drink me some wine. I let me some Peak Moscato, and I drink me some wine coolers like some Seagrams or some Smirnoff or something, and I'm good. Cause I don't even like beer neither. Beer tastes like
See, no, I'm
dirty
scared of
water
you.
to me.
I'm scared of you because I lived
So
with a nigga who drunk Seagrams, and that nigga was scary.
like, I'm
I'm
just
scared.
saying, I love me a good Seagrams now.
Okay, wait. Okay, now, not that this is a trick
Just
question, but
making me happy.
I'm going to judge you by your answer. How do you feel about Four Locos?
Man, man, it's like death. Drinking for loco, you asking for a crazy
Yeah.
wild ass time, and I'm not really for it. I'm not really one to drink it.
I lived with my uncle, fam, and this nigga would get like a little $8 bottle of Seagram gin from the corner store and a 6 pack of Four Locos, and that was like his care package for the day. And by the end of the day, the whole pint of
Now
Seagram
that
was
person
gone,
was crazy.
and all of
Drinking a
them
Four
Four
Loco
Locos.
like that to just drink it. No, you are one bad motherfucker sitting there drinking Four Locos
Nigga
like
used to
that.
meditate. Nigga used to meditate to 21 Savage. It used to be some perplexing shit.
It's crazy, exactly crazy. Drinking Four
Because
Locos.
he
Who the
was a
fuck just goes out their way to drink Four Locos?
nigga would be sitting in like, bro. I would walk out into the front yard, and he had this old Chevy that was like broke down and was just stuck in the yard, and he would be sitting Indian style on the hood of the Chevy with his Bluetooth speaker, a whole bunch of guns laid out around him because he was relatively small. Like my uncle's like 5'5", 5'6", like he's a pretty small dude. Had a big ass Chevy Caprice, and was just sitting on the hood of it, and he had his pistol on one side, he had like his chopper on the other side, and then all his alcohol and shit laid out around him. And the nigga is TT with Kookie. You know what? Oh, my bad. I saw my name pop up again on Station Head. We gonna one day tomorrow I'm gonna talk about how I just became a little. Oh my god, my name is just popping up everywhere, fam, and I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. I'm enjoying it. on
Oh
some,
Lord.
I know this is gonna be fun, but nah, yeah, Four Locos was his shit, fam, and that was like, I don't know, fam. Living with him was interesting to say the
Had to
least.
have been wild. Had to have been wild.
It was a very hectic 8 months. Like I learned a lot though. I will say, like living with a nigga that was as toxic and as because like most black families, a big thing that's like there's a lot of generational curses like in my family. Like I'll say that to say the least. And I think that a lot of times what happens with a lot of the men in my family is there's a lot of unresolved trauma. There's a lot of things that have happened in during childhood that have just gone unaddressed. And so what I was seeing in real time was a black man who had been through hell and back as a kid, and this is what that finished product looks like. Like
Mm.
that like that's like and I know it was a very common thing amongst the older generation, but just honestly speaking, for a lot of people my age, we were able to grow up with a little bit more awareness about mental health, with a little bit more awareness and just progressiveness in the way we think and the way we handle each other and stuff like that. But to see my uncle, who was only 2 years older than me, funny enough, who I kind of looked at as a cousin damn near, to see him like move in that old school, don't want to talk to nobody, I'm just gonna drink my problems away, my it's just me and my pistol, and he was just on some renegade cowboy shit, just terrorizing the hood and whatnot. But to just see, to see that happen in real time with somebody that was kind of close in age to me was just, it was very eye opening to see that that still existed, like that type of man that, because I consider myself to be somewhat traditional, but I'm still very much new age in a lot of ways. But to see like him, just even the way he dressed, the way he walked, the way he talked, the way he went about stuff, he was just super stereotypical with the old school, type of man. And even the way he handled women and the way he dealt with women was very from a macho machismo. Not necessarily. No, it was very degrading at times. Like just he was what he was. He was like he was just a different type of dude. And and that just really opened my eyes to the possibilities of what could happen if certain things go unchecked for too long, and what it looks like as a guy when you feed into those narratives of men aren't supposed to open up, men aren't supposed to talk about certain things. It's and we and you've heard those things a million times. I hate to be that nigga tonight, but yeah, just living with that type of person, it was just really eye opening. But it taught me a lot though, because he was so old school in the way he did things, and he was so set in the way he did things. That was, for lack of better options at the time, that was my first time living with like any type of father figure or male figure in my vicinity. Granted, like he was only 2 years older than me, but we were in just two different places in life. Like that nigga had been working since he was like 13 years old. His dad was a HVAC technician, and so as a kid, he learned how to service air conditioners and heaters and shit like that. And he would be crawling in attics doing that as a kid, trying to help take care of my grandma. Told y'all nigga she was doing bad, but anywho. And so even though we were kind of close in age, our lives just went different. I learned a bunch of household shit, and he learned a bunch of like, trades and stuff like that. And we just had like slightly different upbringings that just happened to overlap here and there. But once I moved into his house and I was living with him, and I was like seeing him move around day to day and stuff like that, it was just super fucking eye opening to me to see the type of dude he had, grown into, the type of man he had grown into. You know. But like I said, I'm changing for the world though. It was a very hectic experience, but he still taught me a lot. Just like taught me how to take apart a pistol and clean it and put it back together. Like you're laughing, but those, but like as a dude though, that's not. It's kind of important. Like the nigga taught me a lot about cars, about changing tires, changing your own oil in a car and stuff like that. Like when like I had an issue where my fucking headlights wouldn't turn off even after I turned
why
the car
is that
off.
the first thing you mentioned though, the pistol?
Because he had an extreme infatuation with guns, and when I moved in with him, like his first, like he gave me a revolver as a housewarming present.
Oh wow.
Like
Oh wow.
he gave me my first three guns actually. Like just unprovoked, didn't
Sheesh.
ask for them. Just came in, just had the Four Loko in his hand.
Here, hold this.
Not even. He was on some slow talking, super smart words. Like bless you, like hey nut man.
Thank
You
you.
know, if you're gonna be living with me, nigga, you're gonna have to be able to hold it down, man. So I got you a little son. Nigga hand me a 310 revolver, big ass.
That sound
revolver.
about right.
Just he dropped it on the bed. Said, "Here you go." And then 2 weeks later, nigga bought me an AK-47. No, he bought himself a new one and gave me his old one. Just
a hand-me-down AK.
he took care of it. He took care of his shit though.
Real shit.
And the nigga would give me lectures on how Russian guns are better than American because Americans are actually Chinese and they're cheap and they're not durable. He was like, stay away from them FNs and all them guns that them niggas be having in them dumbass videos because them bitches gonna break and they gonna jam and that's why all them niggas be dying. Get you a whole reliable, get you an AK, get you a shot like that nigga like. So to answer your question, the reason I bought the gun up is like the first thing was because like that was like the first thing that nigga started teaching me about was guns. And rightfully so, because he had all kinds of situations of his own going on in the streets with niggas who really wanted him dead, and they would like pull up to the house and be starting shit. So he was kind of letting me know, like, nigga, if you gonna be living here, like I know Tawana, that your mama had you living a certain type of lifestyle, and y'all real bougie, and you went to college and shit, but over here we doing shit like this.
Oh, so wait, you were like Trey and Boys in the Hood, crazy.
I was the one nigga that went off to college, and my mama had kind of, remember I told you my mama went back to school and she had kind of got a decent job and moved us out of that environment. And so once I got to high school, I wasn't really living like the rest of my family was living no more. My mama had done that once. She had got her bachelor's degree and eventually ended up going back to get her master's. But she had gotten her bachelor's, gotten like a little promotion at her job and stuff like that. Finally got her divorce settled with my sister daddy, got that squared away. And so she was finally in a financial space where she could afford to really take care of us the way she needed to. And, you know, we moved out of where we was living and finally got our own place and, you know, away from the family. And then she kind of started isolating us a little bit from the family. And it was just like a whole situation. And so, you know, yeah, there was. So I kind of had like a stigma in my family as being like the fancy pants nigga. Like
Carlton?
Not necessarily because I was never a nerd. But my mom always made it a point to make sure me and my sister wasn't dusty, that we didn't look like what we was going through. She made sure we were always presentable. Our hair was always did, or my hair was always cut. You know, in my sister's case, it was did and shit like that. Like she always made it a point to make sure that we dressed for success, as she was to say, and that she made sure that we were healthy, that we were eating. And like, you know, she sacrificed a lot of different places, but she made sure all the basics were met. We had a roof over our head. We had clean clothes and shit on our back. And, you know, then eventually she worked to a place where we had our own rooms and stuff like that. And we were able, you know, be like a little family or whatever. And so I said that to say that moving in with my uncle, it was just like, you know, just, it was like back to living in the hood, but now as an adult. Like instead of watching my uncles and shit sit on the porch and do all of that nigga shit, and I'm in the streets playing football with the kids, now I'm that grown ass nigga that's sitting on the porch looking up and down the street all fucking day and shit like that. Like that shit is not it, fam. Niggas try to make that gangster shit sound cool and stuff like that. Like just think about just standing at your window all day looking up and down the street.
That's what grandmas be doing.
Yeah, but actually looking for niggas though. Not looking out for the mailman. Granny looking out for her check that's coming in the mail.
Granny looking for niggas when I
But yeah, it was hectic. But in seeing the way he dealt with women and seeing the way that he handled himself and stuff, it did teach me a little bit about just and I'm not saying they were correct teachings by any stretch of the imagination, but he taught me some type of teachings on what it was to be a man and what it was to have to hold your own and what it was to have to, be responsible for a household. Like him being a homeowner at 25 years old, it spoke volumes to me. Granted, wasn't the best house in the world, but to be able to say that nah, because at that age, most people are renting apartments and stuff like that.
One trap house in the hood.
But to be able to say that you worked a job and you did, went through the bank and actually bought a house, and at that young ass age you have a house in your name, that was, that was something to be said. So that in itself spoke a lot to me, just about a work ethic and about, like it even with him having, especially with him having the upbringing he had, saw him get on the straight and narrow for the time he did and do what he had to do to save up the money to get a house and stuff like that. I thought that was just kind of fly. And with all the mental health issues and the alcoholism and all that other shit, it was like, in spite of, he was still going to work and functioning and doing what he needed to do. And so that was just like, if nothing else, it taught me, like, there's no excuse for you to not to get up and get it. Like, if this nigga could find time to beat on his bitch, clean all his guns, run to the
Damn. I thought you were supposed to beat his dick. I didn't know you were about to say that.
Nah, and still go to work for 9-10 hours a day, because that nigga was working in the warehouses, loading trucks and shit at nighttime, and then wreaking havoc during the day, and still sleeping, and still found 3 or 4 hours of sleep real quick.
I'm trying to tell you, them overnight niggas are the worst.
And we both were into snakes, so me and him both had a bunch of animals and shit in the house like that. And he had like this really cool terrarium that he set up. Like, he was very, very good with maximizing his day.
Like a real psychopath.
Like that nigga, like you think I'd be up on it early in the morning. That nigga, from the time he wake up to the 3 hours he go to sleep, that nigga is doing something.
He sit on his charger for 3 hours.
This nigga was doing something, and so yeah, but that shit was just, I don't know, bro. Protect your mental. That's what I can say to that. Protect your mental, because even and I think that's where a lot of times it gets even more detrimental, is when you learn how to function through the bullshit. Instead of just taking the time to address it, you start finding ways to cope and finding ways to get by. You find a job that doesn't require too much of you, so it kind of supports it a little bit, and then it's just like you're stuck in that cycle. And that was something that I learned as well, was what I didn't want to be in life.
Coasting.
Yeah, no, well, not even coasting, but doubling down in trauma.
And
like, that's what I didn't want. Was I didn't want to adapt my life around, was build my life around my trauma. Like, understanding where we came from, and like, and looking at him and his life, like, he literally built his life so that way it didn't interfere with the negative shit. Like, everything was conducive to being able to be drunk, and I'm at a job where I can curse at my boss and stuff like that. And it was just like,
mental health has always been a taboo topic. I don't know why. I mean, I do know why people. It's like, I know why, but I still just don't understand why people feel like men don't need to protect their mental or have to work on their mental just as much as a woman.
I disagree.
Everyone needs to work on their mental.
I think, if anything, the conversation has become too cliche. I think that, if anything, now more than ever, people are talking about it and ain't actually doing shit. I think the conversation around men's mental health has been so fucking cliche at this point, to where everybody's just like, oh yeah, men, you don't have to shut up no more. But nobody is actually doing the work to actually go. I think, like, it's just become like a cool thing to say at this point. Like, men,
do you think that it
like,
starts with other men? Do you think that other men should talk more about it and be more about it, so that way we can take it more serious?
I think.
Do you think that would help?
Yes. I think it would help, but at the same time, I think, well, for one, yes, I do, because I think everything starts with accountability. And I also think that as any group or any oppressed, or not even oppressed, but any or any group of people that's complaining about an issue, you can't expect anybody to care about the issue more than you do. So if you're not going to take the steps and stuff to actually do what you got to do, then you can't expect anybody to take your movement or whatever flag you waving serious. And that goes for fucking anything. You got to be your own biggest advocate. So on that instance, I do agree. But I also acknowledge the fact that for decades, if not centuries, that one toxic teaching or or statement has been taught. So while it's become super cliche to say it now, I feel like it's going to take more than just people saying it for the trauma to be undone. And I think that we as people have to do it better at just actually opening up, like not necessarily spaces, but opening just up the room and the environment to the conversation. Because when a nigga does actually get to talking about his feelings, nobody actually really listens. And I
Mm,
think that I'm telling you as a nigga that's speaking from experience, and a lot of times they listen to respond. And so and so
yeah, I understand that.
and so it's like, cause think about it, even in me saying that right there, speaking on behalf of men, you were like and getting ready to like push back on it like I'm not a nigga.
No, I was just
Even that's what I mean. Like when a man comes out and speaks on behalf of men or say some stuff, a lot of times, like, and I hate to put women out there, but a lot of times women don't even like allow men to speak for on behalf of men because it's like, well, I feel this way, and it's like, well, right now we're talking about how men feel, so fuck how you feel, like, and I think that be a
oh,
lot of. But I'm just being honest, and I mean no offense when I say that to anybody, but I think that sometimes that happens a lot as a man when we do open up and express our feelings because the view of men is that most of us aren't in touch with our feelings. When we're talking in a room, especially a co-ed room where there's men and women conversating, a lot of the women, like how men will mansplain some stuff to women. Like I think there's a way that women oftentimes try to explain feelings or to us or emotions to us that isn't always necessary. Like a man could be explaining exactly how he feels, and then the girl would go, "Oh, well, do you mean this, or are you trying to say this?" And they're like, "No, I said exactly how I feel. This pissed me
I've
off, or
caught
this."
myself doing that. I've caught
And
myself doing that
so,
before.
yeah, and so as dudes, we run into that a lot of times. Where, and I don't even think it comes from a bad place, but I do think it comes from a place of a lot of people thinking that men are emotionally unintelligent. And I think that couldn't be farther from the truth. I think men just explain their feelings differently, and because we're not always the most articulate with it, that leads people to think that we're not actually in touch with our feelings or we don't know them. And it's like, nah, a lot of niggas are just raised in poor education systems and don't have great vocabularies. But niggas know when they're sad, when they're upset, when they're frustrated, when they're irritated, when they 5 seconds away from putting their hands on somebody. It's just a lot of times the way we explain it isn't the way women explain it, and vice versa. There's a lot of times where women try to explain their emotions to men and we don't necessarily understand because the words y'all using aren't the same words that we use to describe those same feelings. It's like we got different terminologies and different words for the same shit. And so there's always that miscommunication a lot of times between men and women. You know, you'll hear therapists make the joke that men and women speak different languages and shit like that. And to a certain extent it's true. And it takes a certain level of emotional intelligence on both parts, and it takes a certain level of willingness to compromise on both sides as well.
And transparency.
Yeah,
Most
and it
definitely.
also takes a certain amount of transparency where you're willing to just put your feelings out there at the risk of offending your partner or whoever you're dealing with. Because it might not be a partner. Sometimes you can just be going through it with a friend or going through it with a fucking family member or a parent in my situation, oftentimes, where depending on who you're dealing with, you might be walking on eggshells, or you might be scared to phrase it the way you want to phrase it because you don't want to offend them, or you might be talking to a parent, so you're still trying to walk that fine line between, you know, addressing your feelings, but also being staying in a child's place, as a lot of black parents like to say, or whatever the fucking case may be. And so that level of transparency, where you're just, you know, putting the chips out there and letting them fall where they may, that's crucial. And I think that if whoever you're dealing with knows you and they know your heart and know your intentions, they'll know that you're not coming from a place of malice, but it's more so just from a place of frustration and just wanting to get to the other side of this. Because oftentimes that's where a lot of my situations go haywire, where I'm not necessarily mad at the person or I'm not trying to take shots at them, but I'm just frustrated with the fucking situation in itself, and I just wish it would be over with. But then I don't necessarily voice that the best, or my body language will start, you know, reading something different, and
Yeah.
now, you know, I'm in a different place because it's no longer about whatever the initial issue was. Now it's about, you know, me sucking my teeth or something like that. And that's something that I gotta work on, is, you know, just it's just,
Well,
you
the
know,
first
working
step
on
is
me.
acknowledging it. The
Yeah,
first step is
definitely.
acknowledging it, and if you already know that sometimes your body language could be a little different, or you can do little things like suck your teeth or some shit like that. Since you acknowledged it, now you just got to do something about it.
I think deep breaths have been my thing as of recently. I think that's been like my thing, like whenever, because I know I have a very smart mouth, and it's been brought to my attention a few times that I'm just constantly have something to say back to everything, and I know it's true. Like I know it's true. It's I can't even act like it's like an unfair
Do you
criticism.
feel
It's
like
just true.
it's being defensive? Do you feel like you're being defensive?
No, I'm just a witty motherfucker. Like I'm just witty, fam. Like I just I don't try, and maybe it is a defense, and maybe wittiness is a defense mechanism. It definitely could be, but I just without hesitation, I just respond. Like when somebody says something to me, I just respond, and it's not even about trying to have the last word with me. It's just literally respond. Like you say something, I say something. You say something, I say something. And I think a lot of times when somebody says certain things to me, it doesn't always warrant a response. Sometimes I just need to shut up and listen. But because I'm just geared to just dialogue, respond, it just I oftentimes just end up saying shit. And then me having a slick mouth at the
Mhm.
same time. Sometimes it comes off as snarky, or sometimes I just say some snarky shit. Like I can admit that about myself. I got a smart mouth.
It's called combative.
No, I am combative, but I don't think that's a part
Look
of
at
my
finger. Look
combative
at
nature.
finger.
No, that's
Exactly.
just
Look at
stop it. Stop. No, that's
that.
just because we're on camera and I'm just the I'm just I'm hand gestures for the camera. But no, I don't think my wittiness is a part of my combativeness. But I do again I acknowledge that I'm a combative person. But I think my combativeness, I think my wittiness comes from me just being from me being intellectual. And I think my combativeness comes from me not feeling hurt a lot of times. I think I've grown to be a combative
That makes
person
sense.
because as a man, I've learned I've through life experiences I've started to feel that when I'm not combative, I get walked all over, and I never like to put myself in those positions to where I like cower away or I fade to the back of the room or I fade to the back of a conversation because I'm allowing people to walk all over me. Or sometimes I'll make a point that I feel like is valid or something like that, but then people scoff at it or whatever. And as a man, and again living with my fucking uncle, I learned that there's a certain that as a dude you have to not necessarily assert yourself, but you do when you walk into a room, you do have to command people's like respect. Like nobody's just gonna hand you respect. I know it's like nice to say that if you treat people nice, they'll treat you nice. But as a man, you have when you walk into a room, you have to command respect. Like you have to give people a reason to respect you. And I think that in me learning how to do that, sometimes I've gotten overly combative, or I've gotten to get to points where I'm damn near looking for some type of combat or some type of combat just because. But but I acknowledge that it comes from a place of in the past me not feeling respected for the person that I was, feeling like that, especially with my age and me always being in groups of people that are older than me. Because like even a station head, I'm in a fucking like everybody in my audience damn near is like 30 plus. And so okay, I got you. And so I'm actually gonna wrap this up in about 7 minutes. So this will be a nice little closing topic. But what was I gonna say? But yeah, just always being around older people, and even like talking about being around my god brother and his friends in school and stuff like that. I've always been around older people, and so always being the young dude, I've always felt the need to have to fight a little bit harder for respect amongst the people that I was around because just simply off of my age.
That
And
makes
then
sense
when you
though.
start working in childcare and stuff like that, and you're working around a bunch of super old people, because like being a preschool teacher and stuff like that, most of my coworkers were like retired teachers and shit like that, who were in their 50s and 60s. Shouts out to Miss Pam, she was a good lady, but but no, she was a sweet lady when I was working
Her
in
name
top.
will be Pam.
Yeah, no,
It's always a Pam.
her name was Pamela, but shouts out to Miss Pam, bro. She was a good lady. She used to when I was on the I used to anywho, that was gonna get sidetracked. But long story less longer. Just I've always been around older people, and in me being around older people all the time, there was always that young man's treatment that I got. where it's like I never just got the normal conversation of a regular adult. It was always through the lens of talking to a young man. And granted, I was a young man, but at the time I had to move out of my mama's house, moved all the way up to Tallahassee, 6 hours away, got an apartment with a girl. She got pregnant, had an abortion. Like my life was already on some super adult shit. So at that point in time, I was not feeling none of that young man treatment. Like, nigga, I'm working the same job y'all working, dealing with the same ugly ass kids y'all dealing with. Respect my gangster.
Dang, why they gotta be ugly? You could have said badass kids. You said ugly ass kids.
Well, they was bad as hell. A lot of those kids was bad as hell too. But and shouts out to my babies at TLP, bro. I love them kids to death. But some every kid ain't a cute kid.
They look like fruit bats.
I ain't gonna say that because that's somebody baby, but every kid ain't a
you
cute.
You call them ugly.
But fruit bats is crazy, fam.
Exactly. You already called them ugly. Like,
there's degrees to there's different size bullets, fam. I went and got the little deuce.
I was very specific.
Yeah, fruit that's like, you ever seen them bitches?
Yeah, they're scary. That's what I'm saying.
Crazy.
That's what I'm talking about.
But yeah, so I think me just being a combative person just comes from feeling like I always had to fight for respect. Like whenever I was my normal soft-spoken self, people kind of just treated me like I was a kid. Like I was just like, oh, he's gonna be, you got a bright future ahead of you, and they want to pinch your cheeks and you remind me of my grandson and all that other bullshit. And it's like, fam, I done tried to kill myself twice already. Spare me the patriot. I don't patronize me right now, fam.
Spare me the patriotism.
Yeah, like I don't need none of it, fam. Like my life, like fam, pass me a cig. I'm going through it.
A cig.
And not a cig.
You feel me?
Not a
fam? Like especially so yeah, but and it's something I've definitely worked on through over the years. Because like if you think I'm combative now, like I used to be really when I was living with my uncle, I think I was at my all-time most combative because I felt like I had a nigga riding shotgun with me. I was gonna ride for any type of bullshit, so I could talk myself into whatever issue I wanted to talk myself into. And one phone call and a bunch of horsepower later, this little nigga pulling up and he ready to raise hell.
Young thugger.
Facts. And
you know what's funny? To meet him, you would never guess that because he's very sweet, and my dog loved him.
Bro, my a great person at heart, but
then my dog loved him.
And that's facts, and that's why I gave him the out of the unresolved trauma, because it's a real fucking thing where a good person could just spiral down a really nasty path because of just some shit that happened a while ago that they never dealt with. And it manifests, and some people just are able to masquerade it perfectly, walk through life like ain't shit wrong. Like Tyler Perry had one of them type of girls in this play where she got molested by her uncle when she was a kid, didn't tell nobody about it or whatever. It was a big happy family when the girl had the son, then gave it. Anywho, shouts out to Tyler Perry. I hope
Perry.
Yeah, I hope that little spoof shit come out. You seen the little fake? You seen the little Tyler Perry?
It's like it's parody or something.
Shit? Yeah, the parody movie trailer that's going around.
That shit gonna be funny though. I feel like that shit.
I hope that's a real movie. She don't believe it's a real movie. I hope it is.
The person doing it is a real actor. The person in the clip is a real actor.
But do y'all remember when Martin and Jamie Foxx did the Wanda and Shanae trailer, and they actually said it was going to be a real movie, like the whole skank robbery?
Oh yeah, I do.
Trailer they did for the BET Awards. They totally pump fake with that.
Could have been movies. We should talk about that. But anywho, man, look, Pinky, I appreciate you so much for coming and doing this with me. I think for our first episode, this couldn't have gone any better. Shouts out to Tasia as well. I know she had to get up out of here, but this has been great, yo. And maybe one day we'll really unpack combativeness and we'll just have like a childhood trauma episode, because I think that I feel like at some point I am. Yeah,
we really should, and I feel like it needs to be talked about and it needs to be heard.
Oh, 100%, 100%. I just, me, I like to find ways to keep things interesting. Because I think oftentimes what happens with the childhood trauma talks or any of the mental health talks is that they end up getting super serious, and I just never want it to get to that. Like if there are times where it's called to be serious, of course, but I want this to be a feel-good show. And the point of doing this podcast is to have like just authentic stoner conversation. Wherever that leads to, I'm here for it. But I just never wanted to get too like down in the dumps where niggas is crying and reaching for tissues and, oh my God, that's so crazy.
But sometimes you need that though, TT. Sometimes you need that.
So the goal is not to trauma bond, but to find solutions and how to heal.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
Right, and that's where I'm at with it. In Moonlight Grace, Tasia stands, a beauty rare in distant lands, her eyes like stars. Wait, did you see this?
What happened?
There's a poem in okay, I didn't even see this comment. This username not exists commented, and this is on Twitch, but somebody commented, in Moonlight Grace, Tasia stands, a beauty rare in distant lands. Her eyes like stars enchant the night, a symphony of elegance, pure delight. Who the fuck is it? Who the fuck is
Tasia? Hey, you can pin that. Wait, listen, you can pin that. You can pin that though. You can pin it to your thing so people can see it.
Who the fuck is up here? I'm not pinning no damn poem to Tasia. What the fuck?
Oh my god. They love Tasia. So
let me take it. This fucking first episode, this nigga got a secret admirer on my show.
Right, never mind. TT's gonna be part out.
Nigga, was this you?
Exactly.
Who the fuck is in my Twitch writing?
Who are you asking? That's so funny.
Oh
yeah,
my
you definitely
God.
need to send that to us. That's crazy. Yeah, they always love some Tasia.
That is, I don't like that. I don't
Why
like that.
That would make her feel
safe. You said I don't like that. What the fuck?
No, nigga, first episode and the first comment I get is
I can't wait to tell her.
Fam, the first comment in the history of the podcast is a poem to Tasia.
I mean, as it should be. Like,
a haiku. What poetic ass nigga she got? And I think I got because they can't be him.
What poetic justice ass niggas is?
What poetic ass nigga she got in here? You know what? What a note to end this shit on, man.
That is hilarious. This is day 2 of the podcast ending on a weird note.
This is big shouts out to
thank you so much.
Big shouts out to Tasia Renee. Shouts out to Gigi for cutting through. I love the cameos as well. Such an organic vibe. Shouts out to all my stoners out here, man. At some point, I am gonna find a nice little cute little way to button this shit up at the end of the section. But for now, that's it. That's all. I will see y'all when I see y'all, and we are out of here.
Your intros are crazy.
The intro is cool. It's the outros that's always because normally I'm talking over music and I'm in between.